The thing that's wonderful about writing symphonies is that it's the one time in writing music where you actually have time to say what you really want to say.
But the first really bloody war, or battle, of the American Civil War, a real slugfest, was Shiloh. More men died on the first day at Shiloh than had died in every war we'd ever fought, including the American Revolution.
So the Union Army made a terrible mistake. Grant wasn't there when this happened. They made a terrible mistake. They crossed the Tennessee River, and then they stopped. You cross the river, you keep going. And the second movement is probably the most horrendous, one of the most horrible things that happened in the Civil War, and that's Marie's Heights.
And Stonewall Jackson put his whole regiment, or his whole division behind that. The riflemen were 5 deep, so they'd shoot back off and reload, you know, those old muzzle loaders. And he loaded them 5 deep up there, and the Union decided to start sending regiments up there to take that hill.
The first night after the main battle, when all those people were laying out there in that killing field, there was an aurora borealis.
And they said it was the most eerie thing. He said there were just all these blue bodies glowing out there on that field. And then, of course, the third movement is...
It's the third day at Gettysburg, and most historians call it Longstreet's assault because Pickett worked for Longstreet, General Longstreet, and there were some other brigades that came in and helped. So it wasn't just Pickett's division that went up against the stone wall at Gettysburg. You know, they sent about 13,000 men up that hill. I've walked that hill before at Gettysburg, and I'm going to tell you something. There is no sergeant in the world who could have made me go up that hill under attack.
And those are all real Confederate and Yankee bugle calls. They're the real Civil War bugle calls.
Yeah, and of course that spot where it just seems like it bogs down, you know, that's when they hit the wall. It's an apotheosis is a prayer of, sort of a prayer of praise, and what it basically does, it starts out with the 3 saxophones, and it's intended to sound like an old country organ.
Yeah. And it has kind of a little second idea with that, but with the dee-dee-do-dee-do-dee-do-dee, just those two just play each other out.
It's been so long since we fought the Civil War in America that people have forgotten what an incredible shock that was to this nation. It literally ripped this country in half. We're still recovering from the Civil War 150 years later. The piece by Eric Ewazen is just about the right length, and it's scored well. And of course, Eric is a very good melodist and has good harmonic sense, and always writes really good stuff. A lot of people today don't know who Bernhard Heiden was, but Bernhard Heiden was a very good composer. The piece by Bernhard Heiden I thought kind of surprised me. I think saxophone players know Heiden. I think it's interesting. Well, first of all, I'm glad that the Southern name is going to stay on this company, and I think that Southern has a great tradition of publishing good wind band music, and also, Southern published so much wonderful flute music, and
and method books and all that ensemble music. There's tons of that stuff, and I was really concerned when things started going very badly for Southern that we were going to lose this catalog and all this music was going to be gone. But I had the feeling that somebody would pick up this music because it's not just my music, it's Macbeth and Fisher Tull and all these other really good composers who are in our catalog. So I think that's great. I think that this first edition of stuff is taking some big chances. I mean, the symphony is a big piece, and then of course. I think the thing about it is that it's just fortunate that it's ended up with some people who really care about the catalog, and it's not just band music; it's everything. It's brass ensemble music and all these real gems in there. That Southern did that. There's a wonderful piece for trumpet and band in that catalog by Alfred, and then of course there's all that wonderful Francis Macbeth music in there, Chant and Jubilo, and all those later things that he wrote. I mean, some of that music really is. It's a very diversified catalog, and I think that trying to get started doing some things out of that catalog or doing some things new with the company like this and getting started again, bringing out new music every year, I think it would be a very viable part.